Hey, Podcast Daddy, review this for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on the very first episode of Sake and Smokes. Now, this is a project that I've wanted to do for quite a while. I tried doing it with the Podcast Daddy Variety Show, just throwing it in as Weeb Shit Wednesday, but it didn't really match the rest of the aesthetic I was trying to go with it. So now I decided the Podcast Daddy Variety Show is gone. It's over with. It's done. And this is the first episode of Sake and Smokes. Now you might ask yourself, podcast, what is different than this than Weeb Shit Wednesday? It's really not. Like there is no difference between this and what I wanted to do with Weeb Shit Wednesday. The only difference is this show now I can purely dedicate it to me talking shit about anime, manga, and anything that I read comic book wise, movie wise. That's really the whole premise of what I want this show to be. Now, I think the best way to start this off is to give you kind of an idea of what a top 5 looks like, in my opinion. My top 5 is it's weird. My top 5, manga wise, not anime, because we know how my viewpoints on anime to manga go. I could burn through 500 chapters of One Piece in a month, and it takes me almost fucking 17 years to clear out even three seasons of One Piece. I can't do it. I cannot sit through anime that long. I don't know how people do it, and it might just be because of the filler. Because obviously people are going to say, oh, the filler isn't that bad of one show. You just got to get through the 28 beach episodes, the one episode that explains Dinkle McFucknut's backstory because for some reason the fans asked for it. And, most of them were just being shit heels like, oh, what if we got this supporting character's backstory? And I don't know why. No idea why. Not a single shred of an idea why. The developers think that it's just a great idea to listen to them. And then it just becomes a meme of the entire series. I don't understand. Don't understand it. I'm not going to try to. There's a couple that I'll watch. Like, I might clear through Berserk or watch a simple season 1 and call it good, never touch it, and then pick up the manga. But I'll never sit down and spend a good weekend watching stuff unless I have it in the background. But back what I was originally saying before that tangent hit, my top 5, and of course I'm going to explain why, because oh no, I did the worst thing to do. I said 5, but then I think about it, I'm like, I have a lot that I really just would reread on a moment's notice. Okay, so we'll put it like this. My top 5, as of right now, as it sits, ones that have sat with me for the longest time. So obviously, number 1, this won't surprise anybody who knows me in real life, but it's One Piece. One Piece, I don't know if it was because one of the first animes that I ever watched that really struck a chord with me more than other ones. Like, yeah, I've read a decent amount, but none of them have really grabbed my attention and made me want to stay a consistent reader like One Piece has. If it only be for what I think are pretty cool powers, I like the idea of the devil fruit. I think it's smart. But I guess the one thing I will gripe about that show is I don't understand why it revolves around pirates. Okay? It revolves around pirates. And some of them have powers, some of them don't. Some of them can swim, but some of them can't. Some of them can do this, but a lot of them can't do. It's a lot of this, but why not this? Like plot hole galore. Love the show, but it looks like somebody took a wrench and just yank on all of the plot points in it. And I don't want to say that I don't think it'll be good. I don't think the ending will be terrible. But I'm just going to say, now, obviously, this guy's been writing this story for God knows how long. But just knowing that if this ending is not picture perfect like everybody wants it to be, I swear to God, the anime community will fucking implode. Not because of the people who like One Piece. So, they'll be like, I watched, read, dedicated so many years of my life to this, only for it to have the biggest fuck you ending to ever exist. They will never live it down, and nobody will ever want to claim to be a fucking One Piece fan again. And for the people that obviously don't like One Piece, you fucking losers. Because, at this point, I just assume you don't like One Piece just because of the fandom, which, fair. Like fair. I get it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's a good thing to do. I just fucking get it. I get why you don't like anime because of the fan base. The fucking Berserk was that way for me. That's all I gotta say. But if the ending for this is not picture perfect, those people will have so much fucking ammo until the end of time. Like, it will be a joke that will just keep going through the ages, and not a single person will be able to argue it. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope it has a great ending. Number 2 has to be Kinnikuman. I don't know what it was. I don't know. There's something about it. First, it was I think I watched it for the first time when I was like 10. 8 through 10. 8 through 10 is the general area of when I watched it. And I was, into WWF wrestling. So there's this cartoon show about wrestling. The intro music is a different level of amazing, like not even Kinnikuman, but also Ultimate Muscle. Both of them had some of the greatest entrance music to exist and some of the most colorful, characters to ever grace a screen. I mean, there is a dude called Ramen Man that is a direct drawing of somebody from China. You could not make this shit up. The whole thing revolves around a guy who fights kaijus and is an Ultraman ripoff for, I'd say, a solid 50 chapters. 50 chapters is nothing but this dude eating garlic, eating gyudon. I think it's gyudon. I think that's what they call it, is gyudon. Eating gyudon, ripping ass, wrestling kaijus, and trying to prove that he's not a fucking loser. That is the first 50 pages of Kinnikuman, and then it gets into he's a prince, and now he's a wrestler, and now he meets a guy named Terry Man, and Terry Man is his biggest rival, yet still working on his team. So it's a long story, and that one is one that I want to get into. I want to do a arc by arc review of it because it is great, and I wish I would have been able to read it in its prime. Number 3. Number 3 is holding its spot by the last short and curly I have. It's fucking Chainsaw Man. Okay, so I'm gonna be doing spoilers. Unfortunately, because I have to. I have to explain why this is in my top, but also consistently gets its fucking spot. Like, you're close to getting this shit taken away. Like, you're almost fucking back to the top 8. Okay, you're almost back there. The reason is this story, I have no fucking idea where it's going. Okay. The other 3 made perfect sense. Made perfect sense on why he did what he did, why he's been doing what he's doing. We have the bomb devil, which I'm still waiting for that to be animated. There's a scene with Makima in power that will forever put Makima on this level of fuck you compared to the rest of the people in this series, because at least the rest of them, there's something different about Makima betraying Denji that just hits me so hard in the duodenum. I don't know how to continue on with life. And the fact that she got wiped out and it is now Denji's responsibility to take care of her as a young child blows my fucking dome. And the love interest, oh my god, the love interest of this part that's been going on. I don't know why we thought having the most no personality, no interesting aspects, and even the devil she's supposed to have with her, that she made a contract with, has no personality, nothing that stands out. It's the devil that is controlling her, and it has amazed me that people will look at this entire arc that we're in and say, "Oh, this is peak. This is peak. This is what peak Chainsaw Man is." I'm like, "This is peak. I don't want to see what fucking good is at this point." Like, if this is what you people consider peak, God help me, never show me what you think is terrible. Never show me what you think is terrible, because I can only imagine the swill that would come out of anybody's mouth. It's a great story. I have loved it up until, I'd say, these last 30 chapters. These last 30 chapters, I have no fucking idea what's going on. And I really wish something would happen soon. Like, I want something to happen soon that's going to make me not hate this. And it's still one of my favorites. The art style is beautiful. It may have a lot of those moments where it makes no fucking sense. No sense whatsoever. But the moments where it shines like you are 5 feet away from the sun. And the last thing you see is some of the best paneling, some of the best artwork. Not really like the most in-your-face explosive story, but enough of a story to make you want to keep reading and keep enjoying what you're seeing. Again, this is why it holds number 3, but it almost fucking loses its spot. Almost. It's almost losing its spot. Number 4. Number 4 has to be Gantz. Now I know, okay. I know. I know this is one of those that I have found out through a lot of reviewers online that there is no solid gray area with this series. Actually, anything that man has wrote, there is not a good gray area. You either think he's a fucking whack job, what stories make no sense, or this is what peak storytelling is, and I will be on the side of, I think it is peak storytelling, and it is a way... I've seen, through my years, I have seen character development where a character starts off as a selfish asshole and then ends up as the good guy. Like, I've seen both in the spectrum. But the way that he does the main character in Gantz, from having him be a selfish asshole that tells a lady to go the wrong way on the subway just because he didn't want her to talk to him, to going to save the entire world against a fucking alien invasion. It just the buildup of how we get there, some of the best writing and character development ever. Now, obviously, I know people will say, well, it's because of how much fan service he does, bro. Like, do you see all the titties and all the ass? Yes, the dude is a horny motherfucker. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, there is nothing I can say about that, simply because he made a story about a porn star who turns into a kaiju. I don't know what kind of not fan service you didn't expect from this dude. I don't know what you wanted from this. I don't know exactly what you thought was going to happen here. That's all I got to say. Like, that's all I have to say. But it's great. The only parts it falters is that sometimes it's a little too dark. Now you might be thinking, but podcast, what kind of dark could it be? You say you like dark stories that have details that make you question your morality. Now, I do, okay? I love me a dark story. When I say that Gantz sometimes is too dark, I mean that I can't fucking tell what's going on because the mixture of black and white and the entire page is so crammed all together by the various details of these monsters that in the same breath as it does good is also one of the most annoying fucking things. it is damning to how much I like this, and yet still have to think of that as a bad thing. But most of it definitely just, it stands out. Story isn't, again, not the most brain numbing story. It's the character development that more or less keeps it. It's more of the characters that keep me into the story more than the overall arcing story of itself. So yeah, it earns its spot as number 4, and that's it sticks it sticks there. It stays there just fine. And the last one in my top 5, I'm gonna get shit for this, and I will tell you now, I will not stand any slander against bobobbbobob. Yeah, and I just heard people groan. Like, I just heard people hearing this, and he's like, "Oh my god, you actually like that shit?" I do. I think bobobbbobob is some of the funniest shit to ever exist. Okay? And I think the reason that is because I have watched so much serious manga, have watched people fight tooth and nail, will argue until their faces turn blue. No problem with it. Will completely fucking argue with it. To just see an anime take all of those tropes, turn them all the way to 25, smoke about a half crack rock, and then turn it to another 38 right beside it, tickles me pink. Some of the best jokes. There is a whole scene where the main character, or two of the main characters in this story, have a who has the saddest backstory. And it's not like they're just sitting at a table having back and forth conversations of like, "Oh, my dad died when I was 2, so I had to learn kung fu to go and avenge him." Or, "My mom beat me my entire life, so now I fight any woman in the streets, fighting the evil of the patriarchy." Like that. Like, it's just like, it's stuff like that, but hammed up to 25. One of them was like, "I learned how to sing for Christmas only to not be able to sell cookies." And you're like, what point where was that joke supposed to go? No idea where was that joke starting at? And then by the time you finally think about it, you're already on like 8 more sad stories they did. It's jokes like that. Or what? This one I know isn't specifically shonen stuff. This was more of just Japanese media. The announcer goes to say the title of a movie, and I think it was just like Push. Yet it had so many different Japanese characters on top of it, and they even call it out too. It's just not really insulting, but taking prime shonen tropes and just pumping them up past the level that they're supposed to be, tickles me pink. And I think we are at a loss of stuff like that anymore. I don't think satirical stuff making fun of a whole genre will ever exist or doesn't exist anymore. But that has to stuff happens. People don't want to see that anymore, because every time you bring up Bobo to any anime fan, you might as well said that you like that you like watching My Little Pony and you think it's peak cinema. Like, that is the same vein that people will look at you. No idea why. Like, even people I know that like joke animes, stuff that gives you a little chuckle, a little tee-hee, they don't even, like, they think it is stupid. So I don't know. I might have to have somebody explain this to me, of why this show has so much hate towards it. I don't know. It will forever live in my top 5, because I think, like I said, it has some of the funniest fucking jokes to ever exist. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for my first episode of Sake and Smokes. I am your host, the Podcast Daddy, and I hope you have a great day, a wonderful night, and as always, keep your balls clean.